What's going on, Agatha All Along fans? And we are on episode 6. Obviously, it came to conclusion this week, and we're going to go over some things that I've caught, some discussions during the week that's been happening so far, and much, much more. So first off, we're going to start with simple as this about Rio. You talk about the roles that Agatha plays. I want to talk about seeing the interrogation through Billy's perspective. The garden hose head for a gun. I lost it. But I really want to know, was Rio actually there? Because we don't see her when he looks in through the window. In the conversation we find out, at least with Billy, Agatha wasn't even hearing those conversations as they were actually happening. So was Rio actually there? Again, this is a bit of an interpretation. One, I think she was. That point of view shot is obscure. There's not an empty chair there, so I think she was, but it wasn't. The story of episode 6 is Billy's path and what he's focused on. So essentially what I think it is Rio appears when she needs to. When she's Lady Death, she appears. But Billy does see them arguing in episode, I don't know if you remember it's 1 or 2, but he does see that scene. He re-mentions it. He says, oh, here's that one crazy spooky lady or whatever. He says something along those lines. He also sees her come out of the ground as Miss Hart, but obviously it's Rio, the Green Witch. So we know that he can see her physically. So, next part. Agatha All Along creator Jack Schaefer on casting Joe Locke as Billy Kaplan, even though he's not Jewish. I can't overstate how much we thought about it. Casting took a very long time. Ultimately, Joe was the right person for Billy Maximoff, and I'm thrilled that he took the role. Now, this is a big thing that I've talked about with people on Twitter. I've talked about people on the Talk, on the Gram, all those places. And I don't necessarily think you have to be the same race or ethnicity in order to play a character, hence why they are actors. If it calls for an African American character, you should be of darker skin tone. You should be African American. That's where it matters. Or like if you call for a Japanese character, they could be Japanese. But when it calls for a character that's just of European descent, it's not the same. Like Romani, it's technically white in the comics. You know what I mean? Like it's the same thing with Jewish. It's the same thing with French, Italian, all those things. Like the character is white, and he went through like 9 rounds of auditions, if I'm aware, and he got them all. So he plays the best. And if you really go for all the boxes, you have to hit 5'7", you have to hit homosexual, you have to hit Jewish, you have to hit, yada yada yada, skinny, all these kind of things. There's all these specific tones, and it's just not realistic. So I hope that helps clarify that at least. The next one, I feel like Billy was attached to each character. Now hear me out. He's watching a YouTube video and he sees Jennifer Kale. He gets in the car accident as William and he sees Alice, and that's where this brings up. What if Alice got fired because she couldn't handle this case as she can't hear Billy's name? Maybe like tripping out. And someone said, well, wouldn't she remember? No, because he had the sigil. So technically that whole thing is erased from her. Just like how Lilia, when she is the sorceress or palm reader, she tells him, your life is about to be split in two. And if you look at that coffee scene, you can actually see both of them, which is really cool. But once again, she gives him the sigil and she completely forgets who it is. They say, oh, do you know who the coat belongs to? She says, I have no idea. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like that. Just how Agatha had no idea until he broke the sigil. It's the same exact thing. None of them know besides Rio, who was like, that's not your son to Agatha. Because she knows she's Lady Death. She's beyond that. She's a cosmic entity. Next up, was Agatha trying to find out how Billy got into this body so she could essentially do it for the same thing for her son? Because if you check right here, I feel like no one is talking about how Agatha asked Billy about how he found a new body, because she wants to do the same for Nicholas. She just wants her boy back. Now, I don't necessarily think that's what it is, because she also mentions the fact that what he did was against the rules. It was not of honor in a sense. But she said, but no one can doubt your power. And she knows that at this point, Nicholas is an agent of Mephisto. She gave him up willingly for a deal. Yes, she didn't know the full rules, but that's part of it. That's what Mephisto does. He tricks you. His whole goal is to get souls. And now the next one I want to talk about, I want us to look at these cards. If you remember, we had 6 cards that we got. And obviously, The first one was the one that hinted to Aubrey Plaza being death because she had the same dagger and it literally said death. Number 2, 3 swords, and it's Agatha, and there's 3 swords going through a heart. The next one is Queen of Cups, and that's where Lilia's story is going to take place this week. And they're going to do the whole Wizard of Oz. You can see the castle in the back and all that stuff, and this is where Lilia is going to die. From the look of it, they only have really one more trial after Lilia's, which is next, the Tower. We heard the towers are reversing, and that has to do with Wiccan. It shows the crown. It shows all that stuff. Then you got the 3 of Pentacles. Then you have the High Priestess, which is Jennifer Kale. All these tasks were done. You know, you had Alice's task, which I believe was the 3 Pentacles. You had the High Priestess task, which was Jennifer Kale. And then, you know, you had Agatha's, which was the 3 swords. You have Death already, which is going to be the season finale, which is going to be her versus Agatha. But you still have the Queen of Cups and you have the Tower. And obviously, I believe Billy's trial is the one where we see them both in like some sort of body bag and they're in like a sane asylum or wherever they're at. That I think is Billy's. So we do have that to look forward to. The next I want to mention the whole Ralph Boner thing. My Time to Shine said he was going to be another thing. I've already said this a long time ago. The whole rumor and the whole scoop was he was going to show up in Wonder Man. That's where it was going to tie in because he is an actor, just like how Wonder Man is an actor, just how other characters are actors. So don't let My Time to Lie tell you guys she has a scoop when it doesn't come from her. So I do want to put that out. But I also want to mention with the Ralph Boner thing, remember when Agatha said she poisoned the dog, or she killed Sparky too, and she did the whole thing during Agatha all along? Well, Ralph Boner said she had me poison a dog. You know, she ruined my life, took over my house, blah, 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 blah. She messed him up. Wanda could have messed him up a little bit, but Agatha destroyed him. That's the difference. And last but not least, I want to talk about this. Jack Schaefer has confirmed that Joe Locke's Billy Maximoff is the Coven's Black Heart in Agatha all along. Fans thought it was Aubrey Plaza's Rio Vidal, and I thought it was till I got to about episode 4. Oh no, last week's, I'm sorry, episode 6, because we also saw again where he was texting his boyfriend and he said like, "You're my whole heart," or whatever. I'll post it right here. But he did the Black Heart. And I think the reason why it was so like switch around, because seeing the Black Heart on the piece of paper was the sigil blocking out his name. So you had Agatha, you had Lilia, you had Jennifer Kale, you had Alice, and then you had his name. There was no mention of a 5th name though, or a 6th name though. We don't know. You know, we don't know how Rio even got involved in this. That's the thing. You know, maybe it said Rio Vidal and not Aubrey Plaza's character, and we didn't see that name. I don't know, but you know, obviously Death had to intervene, and I'm thinking she wants Billy's body because he essentially went against the rules, and that's why Agatha and Rio are gonna have to fight in the end. But you know, I mean, it is cool twist that we see that Billy was the one who was the Black Heart all along, and it was building it up to a way we thought it was gonna twist, even with Rio saying, "My heart is black and it beats for you." Just you know what I mean? So let me know what you guys thought. Did you guys catch anything that I missed? I know I obviously did on the talk. Once again, I did a bunch of like what was in Billy's room, and it was like Saw posters and Evanescence and all these different things. There's so many cool things, but I do a lot of that over there and also a lot on the Twitter. So make sure you follow me on all platforms, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.